Alright, Level Engine here with Castlevania III Dracula's Curse. Specifically, I'm going to be playing the Alucard route. So in other words, we're going to encounter Alucard and use him as our main spirit helper. So Castlevania 3 is a lot like Castlevania 1 in how it plays, but 3 adds innovations that 1 did not have. So first things first, you would notice with Castlevania 3, if you play far enough in the game, you'll find some forks in the road and you thus have to decide where to go. And you can also play as other characters in this game as well. Trevor, who I'm playing as right now, the main character you start with, will handle a lot like Simon Belmont did in Castlevania 1. But the other 3 characters you can also opt to play as, alongside Trevor, all play very differently from one another. Alright, so far this is stage 1 of Castlevania 3, which will pretty much go the exact same way every time if you do the same thing every time, because there is literally next to no randomness in this level. So I'm going to pick up the holy water before leaving this screen, and then I'll start using that to try to get a shot multiplier on it as soon as possible, because as it stands currently, I can only have a single holy water projectile on screen at once. I'll try to at least get a double shot before the first boss. And to just get that shot multiplier, I simply need to just kill enemies or hit candles with the holy water until a double shot shows up. Yeah, sure there are a lot of zombies in stage 1, but they're easy enough to just jump over anyways. Okay, so next screen I'm very likely going to get the triple shot on my holy water as well, and would thus be able to have 3 holy water projectiles on screen at once. So yeah, this holy water sub-weapon makes contact with any sort of ground tile or block, then just ignites. And holy water can actually very easily stun lock any given target if multiple holy waters are placed on top of it. That plus, it can deal damage really quickly, especially if multiple holy waters are stacked. So in other words, it's a game breaker, if you know how to use it. And that can be used to effectively cheese a lot of bosses. Which it will, because it's, for the most part, like the fastest possible way to kill a lot of bosses in this game. Right, so now I'm gonna go to level 3. I'm skipping level 2 entirely, which is the clock tower, where you meet Grant, which is one of the other characters in this game you can play as. Who, unlike every other character in Castlevania up to this point, can actually control where he lands, can jump a lot higher, and can also climb on walls and ceilings. But he is held back by his pathetic attack reach with his main weapon. But still a very interesting character to play as regardless. And if he's like the best spirit helper, it really depends on your playstyle. So now we're gonna get to the first notable moment of randomness in the run. These owls. Sometimes they pop their heads out of the trees sooner, other times they wait a bit to do so. So it's not always easy to just run across this screen without getting pushed backwards by an owl or two. Unfortunately, I got hit backwards twice, so that's quite a bit of time loss. That is if I were shooting for a world record right now. In the context of a marathon, it's still not really a big deal. Yeah, the owls don't always poke their heads out of the trees at the same time every run, so it will be a bit random every time you play that screen. I mean, sure, you at least have more control over the rest of Stage 3, but not so much the owl screen every time you play it. And speaking of randomness, I'm gonna go to Stage 4. Actually, halfway through Stage 3, you can just go to Stage 4 on the lower route. But if you do this, you unfortunately don't get your health back from damage you took in Stage 3, which I took a decent amount from owls, so I'm coming up to this with, like, not much health in my health bar. And these frogs are also fairly random, just like the owls, but debatably worse. I also got pushed back by a frog, which is less than ideal, especially if I'm shooting for the fastest time possible. But as long as it doesn't kill me, I'm not really going to mind too much. And then the rest of stage 4, for the most part, gets significantly easier after dealing with those frogs. Those frogs really are the worst of stage 4, if you ask me. Sure, the Mudmen are also a little random, but you can just throw holy water if you still have it, and pretty easily just clear them out. So yeah, I actually picked up the axe and then a second vial of holy water on purpose. There's actually a reason I did this. So I got rid of my shot multiplier on purpose. I will get back a double though, and I will keep that double shot until the end of the game. And not just get a triple, I'm gonna specifically keep a double shot. There it is. And now I'm coming up to the next boss, which is easy enough if you just have the timing down. If you got the timing down, that's easy enough. And again, I didn't mean to stop my timer. I typically have splits and not just a single timer when I'm running this, so I guess it's a force of habit to just split at that point. Even if I only have a single timer and I shouldn't just stop the timer. Alright, so moving on to stage 5, which is a lot less random than stages 3 and 4. No owls or frogs to speak of here. Everything is pretty much predictable if you're going to play this stage the exact same way. Alright, so far so good. Honestly, the fastest way to get past this screen is to just let yourself get hit on 2 of these firemen here. Especially since even if you kill them, they can spawn, like, flames on the ground that you still would have to either wait for to disappear anyways, or just get hit on those. And yes, this is intentional. As long as I don't take another hit, it's not gonna matter that I'm, like, only on 2 bars of health left. And yes, from what we know, that's the fastest way to get through the first half of stage 5. Okay, so I still have my holy water, which is good. So if I set this up just right, I can get a very fast kill on this boss here. I'm probably gonna get it too. Yep, so that's supposed to be based off of the Dracula fight in Castlevania 1, specifically Phase 1, where the boss just teleports to random locations across the screen. Or not exactly random, but based on where you are on the screen. And then just shoots fireballs at you, then just teleports again. But I just very quickly killed the boss, so you didn't get to see much of it, because holy water. And yep, that guy is Alucard, by the way, which we're now going to recruit as our spirit helper. So now I can switch back and forth between 2 characters. Though since it takes a significant amount of time to switch between one character and the other, I'm gonna just try to not switch characters too often. So from here on out, you will see a lot more Alucard than Trevor. Yep, that's Alucard's main special ability, to just turn into a bat and fly around everywhere, but you need to have hearts to do it. So I will just use that to effectively bypass a lot of platforming and combat in the game. Much faster than just having to just jump up certain ledges, kill some enemies. Instead I can just fly past a lot of stuff that will otherwise just take much more time to actually do. Though you need to just keep an eye on your heart count to make sure you don't run out, because if you run out of hearts mid-flight, you're just gonna stop flying. Though Alucard is really not that good at combat, so I'm going to switch back to Trevor to kill this, because Alucard would both not be able to kill this very quickly at all, this boss, and I honestly can't take much damage because I left myself with very little health. That plus Trevor still has his holy water, so he will just very quickly kill most bosses anyways. Alright, so on to stage 6, where you get to see even more of Alucard's flying in action. And overall, it is certainly trickier to do this stage at the top level than stage 5. But I'll see what I can do. Oh, really? That's unfortunate. I did not want to get pushed back on that bandage there. That's unfortunate. And the trickiest part of this stage is still yet to come. Not only will I be doing some technical flying, I'm also going to try and clip through 2 ceilings. So I'm also going to try and just damage boost in such a way that I can get Alucard to fly through 2 ceilings to save even more time. So that's one right there. And then I'm gonna go for the second one here. And I barely got that in. Oh, and I also accidentally took another hit. Let's see how this is gonna go with Alucard only. Might have to be a bit more careful than usual. Or maybe not. That was honestly a pretty good Frankenstein fight. Sure, Trevor's able to kill that boss faster, but as I said earlier, it takes time to switch between characters. Specifically, every time you want to switch from Trevor to Alucard and vice versa, it's 4.5 seconds. So, if it's faster but not fast enough, then it's still faster just not switch characters in the first place. And now, coming up to stage 7, the bane of everyone's existence. This stage is a nightmare both casually and also from a speedrunning perspective. Okay, I got through that ceiling, but it was a little sketchy. I got stuck on an adjacent block, so that clip was a little sketchy, but I still made it through. And that is also not a very easy ceiling clip to pull off. Definitely one of the toughest things to actually do with Alucard in this run. But if you get it, you save 5 seconds over not going for it at all. So if you're trying to get the fastest time possible, that actually is a very big deal. And even after that, you're still not done with stage 7 yet. There's still several major choke points that come after that. In fact, I'm coming up to a very precise bat fight, so I have to be ready for that. Almost got it. One bat survived. One bat survived. So what I was trying to do was just kill all the bats as they spawned, but accidentally shot that last set of fireballs in such a way that one bat got to escape. Yeah, that's the same bat fight that you would see in Stage 4 if you go lower route, but with Alucard's fireballs literally disappearing as soon as they touch anything that's not a near candle, that just makes the fight way more precise. It's too precise to the point where I don't always get it, but I'm still very good at consistently hitting it. That time I was off by one single bat. And then there's also still making sure your heart count is good enough to actually do all the flying necessary to just not really lose too much time here in Stage 7. Otherwise you'll have to just intentionally slow down or run out of hearts. Because for that previous screen I was just on where you fly under the bridge with the Medusas on it, you need at least 9 hearts to do the flying properly. I had like a little over 9, so I was still good. And even after all of that, you're still not done with Stage 7 yet. It can still just throw a wrench in your plan if one of the bosses doesn't give you a good pattern. Yeah, the auto-scroller, you don't really have to worry too much. Pretty easy to just get the same exact auto-scroller every time if you just stand in the same places. Because these enemies that do spawn just do so dependent on where you're standing. That plus, you cannot even go faster than the screen allows you, so this is still pretty easy. Alright, so I'm coming up to 3 bosses right here. 2 of which are just hilariously easy because of holy water. The Cyclops also isn't that bad from a technicality. Just what makes it bad is that there's some sort of reliance on random number generation. Or just in other words, good luck to not lose time here. Well, I got the good luck. So, the fastest way to kill him is to get him into one of these corners. And the easiest way to do that is to have him charge at you, but sometimes he will spawn and just simply not charge. That here will just take too long to actually charge into a corner. And then you will not be able to easily get a quick kill. And that Leviathan could have been slightly faster, by the way, too. Nothing out of the world, but still could have been slightly better. Yeah, so it's entirely possible the second boss, that being Cyclops, just doesn't charge, and then you either have to just improvise to get a quick kill, or simply you just don't get a quick kill in the first place, and you lose potentially a lot of time just having to not die to him. Alright, now coming up to Stage 8. Another place where you can get unlucky and potentially lose a lot of time because you need to take more damage boosts through ceilings, and there's one particular spot where you're just dependent on a specific enemy pattern, and if you don't get it, then you're out of luck. So this flying is straightforward and simple enough. So now I'm going to be taking some more damage boosts, with the second one not always being possible to get straight away. Okay, so this guy threw his axe high, and he threw it high again. You need to jump into this axe to damage boost off of it, but if he throws it high instead of low, then he won't actually have enough height to do the damage boost. Yeah, if the axe is thrown high, then it's too high up in the air to actually be able to jump into and hit. So you have to hope, if you don't get the low axe first try, that he just throws it sooner rather than later. Because you'll just be waiting there until you get the right axe throw. And this is like at least 3/4 of the way into the game, keep in mind. And then there's the fight against death. Of course you can opt to do this with Trevor and it's safer, but I'm doing it with Alucard, which is really easy. Easy to mess up, if you're not careful. Particularly Phase 1. Phase 2 is not so bad when this thing is not just spamming projectiles like crazy. Phase 1 is just a lot more dangerous and risky though with Alucard. Unless you really know what you're doing. And even after all of that, it's still not over yet. Then there's Stage 9. And I'm going to try and just do the Fleaman screen non-stop. Which has a very tricky jump shot, but I'm pretty sure I can hit it. This one's not so tricky. The one where you have to just jump shoot like 2 Fleaman, that's the tricky part. Got it though. And yes, there will definitely be quite a bit of flying in the next part. Well, maybe not the next part, but like a couple screens later, there's going to be quite a bit of flying, so grabbing that big heart is very important. Yeah, quite a bit of flying coming up, so I have to grab that big heart before taking the stairs up to this screen. Okay, I think my heart can is still going to be good if I know what I'm doing. Okay, that jump tapping was spot on. That was beautiful. That was great. Yep, there we go. Got up that screen, no problem. So that's the bulk of the flying you'll be doing in Stage 9 up until you get past this next auto-scroller. And you can always just opt to fly up that screen without jump tapping. It's a bit slower, but it's a lot easier. Yeah, because if you actually just fly upwards with jump taps timed well, it's actually faster than just simply holding up the flag. But making sure you have the right rhythm and not just botching the rhythm in some way to accidentally just not, like, do a jump tap. Because if you mash the jump button too fast, then, like, you're just gonna lose that rhythm of jump tapping upwards. Like, you'll miss one jump upwards, and that might just cause you to hit, like, an enemy projectile or something, which should be pretty bad. Especially at a point in the game where anything that hits you takes off a quarter of your health. I can still take another hit and not die, so I do feel pretty safe for the rest of Stage 9 anyways. I do feel pretty safe about this. We'll just see what these birds do. I mean, you never know what they're gonna do. That was beautiful. Doesn't get much easier than that. So I'm going to just fly here and then switch back to Trevor, and have Trevor just very quickly kill Doppelganger. And Trevor's gonna kill this boss. And then we're going to be moving on to the final stage of the run. And yes, I still do have my double shot of my holy water. I did bring it to the end of the game. That barely worked out. Okay, that was close. I'm just gonna grab that extra heart, because you never know if I might possibly run short. Yeah, the fastest way to play Stage A barely leaves you enough hearts to make any mistakes. Both flying, and also just fighting Dracula at the end. So I'm gonna grab one extra in case maybe I do make a mistake somewhere along the way. And in case I don't get any heart drops off any enemies. And since I can't move any faster than the screen scrolls, here would be a nice place to get them. Though I'm gonna make sure I don't accidentally take damage and then just make the Dracula fight a lot riskier. So here you do just a bunch of flying to get past this screen. Likely gonna get hit anyways, so just waste a bunch of time. Try to not get hit. So I'll just opt to take the hit there. And now I'm gonna try and phase myself through another ceiling, so wish me luck. Okay, we just barely got through. 1 pixel lower, and my head would have not been high enough from the ceiling, and I would have just been nudged down. Okay, I barely made the clip work. 1 pixel lower, and I would have not actually been able to fly through. So yeah, now I'm coming up to Dracula here, which I will fight as Trevor. With a triple shot of my axe. Really the best weapon to use against this guy. So also for this phase of the Dracula fight, it's crucial that you just kill this before the platforms just start moving again. Before the platforms can start another cycle, it's crucial you just kill this guy. And you don't just make any mistakes. Because even doing that perfectly, you barely have enough time to properly do the kill. And time! Yeah, so for the axe and the triple shot, what I did was just keep a double shot on the holy water, and also then use the holy water to make a triple shot appear, right next to an axe. I would pick up the axe first and then the triple shot, effectively just transferring shot multiplier over from one weapon to the next. Because for Dracula, first phase, his head's up in the air and not on the ground, and for the third phase, his head is also way up in the air and not on the ground, so holy water's not going to be a good choice for Dracula. Axe is a much better way to go, so I would just transfer shot multiplier from holy water to axe, and then I would just use the axe on Dracula. And yeah, for phase 3, the platforms move around in what I call cycles. If they go back into the ground, another cycle starts. So it's important you actually just kill Dracula's third phase before the next cycle of platform starts, because the orb to actually finish the run will not spawn while the platforms are still moving. So even if you just barely miss the first cycle, you don't just lose a small amount of time, you lose whatever time it takes for the second cycle to also finish, because your run can only stop when you pick up the orb. Yeah, so that is Castlevania III Dracula's Curse with Alucard. I guess if you just want to watch the credits, I'll probably not stop the recording until those are done. Because honestly, I don't have, like, much else to say in terms of commentary. I'm basically done speaking. Okay, so thanks for watching, everybody. And I do hope I get accepted.